Actually, it's the lead play in our offense. We ask our YN or a tight end to open up somewhere between 6 feet and 9 feet, get an isolation with the linebacker. Tell the tackle to take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, to drive down on the first man to his inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here, and try to run this play in the alley.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. You can find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. Text us, 865-658-5824. Join alongside Jacob in Wisconsin. We got Emilio in Tennessee. We got Tim at the Mecca, Green Bay, Wisconsin. How we doing today, fellas?
Good. What are you laughing at already, Emilio?
I just saw the double pistols you hit us with, and I just started.
That was good. Like I
said. Yeah.
Jacob, you hit the gym today, bub?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Yeah. Working on them
guns,
Gaines,
right? Dude. You guys ever been to Gainesville?
Yeah, I work in Gainesville every day.
He said, you got a ticket. Sure about that? You don't need a ticket to this gun show. Speaking of tickets, hey, let's give a shout out to our friends over at Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packers Total Access Live. Wisconsin-based since 1992, specializing in Packer tickets. Wisconsin's largest ticket source as well. They got offices next to Lambeau Field and in Milwaukee. You can click on the link in the description of this video, and you can be sent to www.theticketking.com, where you can register for free as a customer. Go ahead and get that out of the way, gang. And when the schedule release drops here in May for the Green Bay Packers, schedule, you'll be ready to go to save some money and get some great seats on some Packers tickets. Make sure you check them out. Like I said, they're supporting us. We want to support them. And again, they're based right there across the street from Lambeau Field, man. Keep it local. Don't give in and go to the big name places. You know what I'm saying? Let's support those who support us. Again, that is Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packers Total Access Live. We appreciate their support. Now, back to the gun show, Jacob. How many reps you do? I'm just kidding. We're not talking about that.
Jacob, what's your 225?
Exactly. Did you do more than Tyler Newman? You see, Tyler Newman did. I think they said he did 10 reps on the bench. Everybody's going, "Oh, he's a bust." All right, guys. All right. I hope his stock falls so far, bro, so he can just fall right in our lap, dude.
You take him at 91. I'm cool with that.
Definitely, dude. No doubt about it, man. No doubt about it. So we had some news drop just a second ago, right? And you guys keep an eye on the chat for me. Actually, I had a couple marked, I believe. Let me hit those real quick. Dwayne in the chat, he hits it right off the top here. Yash gone. Guess they're going heavy line and DBs. All those people that made fun of us for taking tackles early.
Yash can. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he can, but he's gone. All right.
That's true.
It is what it is. So Yash Nyman obviously signed with the Carolina Panthers. Ian Rappaport tweeted out the Panthers have agreed to terms with former Packers offensive tackle Yash Nyman. Sources said some depth for the O-line. Now, immediately everyone's kind of freaking out like, oh, crap, we don't have any tackles. We thought they were going to be in the market for tackle anyway, right? So I think what they're going to attempt to do is, if the board falls right, they're not going to be afraid to take a tackle early and have them compete with Rasheed Walker there at left tackle. But I did want to pull this up real quick and get your all's take on how we feel about the tackle room. So here are the tackles that are currently on the roster. To the best of my knowledge, in chat, if I've got this wrong, if there's somebody I'm missing, let me know. But we got Zach Tom. We got Rasheed Walker. That's obviously your right tackle and your left tackle. You got Caleb Jones, which will probably be somewhat of a swing tackle. Luke Tenuta, they were real high on. Obviously, had the injury last year. Then they got Kadeem Telfort, which I honestly feel like Kadeem Telfort's probably one of those guys going to end up back on the practice squad, right? So Luke Tenuta, to me, is kind of the big wild card here. But let's just go around the horn with that. Jacob, how do you feel about the tackle room right now? How aggressive do you think they need to be in the draft with it?
Yeah, I think that this definitely shifts that they need to be a lot more aggressive and probably a lot earlier because we've looked at it. There are some steals you can get later in the draft at tackle, but most of your most of that talent's going to be in the first and second rounds for sure.
Mhm.
And I like Luke Tenuta. There was a lot of promise, and I think they like him a lot. But yeah, that injury was a tough one. It set him back. And then I've always liked Caleb Jones. That dude's just a giant. So we'll see. A lot of this, we're putting a lot of our eggs in the Rasheed Walker basket, which again, everybody made fun of me when I drafted like 3 linemen in that draft. But guess what, suckers?
Jacob's in here dunking on him over off offensive lineman. I love it. Emilio, what do you think, man? How you feel about the tackle room? We're pretty well set, right?
Yeah, I mean, throw Caleb out there and just let him eat. But we've talked about it. It's wild how it keeps changing each week. But now we're going to start adding more O-line to the drafts, and I guess we kind of need to go back to the beginning of the year, or the beginning of the drafts. We were doing mocks, right before the draft, and kind of see where we started and where we're going to end up at.
Yeah. See, Dennis Shook in the chat said, "I'm not sure Kadeem Telford really even exists." There you go.
I can't picture him.
Tim, what do you think about this tackle room, man? Are you comfortable with how it sits now, or do you think we need to go out and add a couple bodies?
Man, I love Zach Tom. I'll tell you that.
He can block.
He can block. He can play guard. He can play tackle. Probably play center if we need him to.
He can pull.
He can pull, right? Pin and pull. I love it. But in all seriousness, I think what this says is that they're high on Luke Tenuta, and they're high on Caleb Jones. And I'm with Jacob, man. I've always liked Caleb Jones ever since he showed up here, and I think it's just sometimes guys are project players, and you see potential, and it may take a season or two to get their NFL legs under them, and you never really know until you're thrown into the fire. So, we can talk about tackle being thin. I would assume that we'd probably draft at least one tackle in this draft, if not maybe another. But I'm cool with Sheet at left tackle, and I'm cool with Zach Tom at the right side. And then as of right now, it's Jones and Tenuta backing them up. And then we haven't seen much of Kadeem Telfort, but we can't predict the future with any crystal ball. So you never know.
Right. We do have breaking news, though. We got inside information. Emilio said that Jacob only uses left-handed spatulas. So good information there. Never heard that one. Blake B in the chat said the tackles class seems pretty deep. I'm a fan of Latham and Mims. If I were to look at tackle here on my board, I've got Latham as the third best tackle. He's 12th overall, so probably not going to be there when we pick at 25. However, Amarius Mims, I've got him in the 22 spot. That's not where he's going to be mocked. That's just where he sits on the horizontal board. So, or on the vertical board, I should say. So, yeah, I would be totally cool with either of those. Obviously, if somehow, some way Latham falls that far, or if Amarius Mims falls right in our lap there. Graham Barton at 23, too, really big on him. You could, move him around all over that offensive line, too. We know that the Packers like their versatility there on the O-line as well. So,
definitely
stuff there. So, yeah, thought we would just kind of touch on it because, again, that seemed to be the big news of the day.
It's going to change the approach, though. I mean, we're definitely going to have to take a tackle now, right? At least one, maybe two. Last time we've been taking at least one interior, most of the time 2 interiors. So,
yeah, great point. Donald Krieger says a tackle at 25 will upset me. Let me tell you something, Donald. You are not the only person, because anytime we draft an offensive lineman at 25, we get roasted. Okay?
What if he's a dog?
Right. That's the thing. Like, when you see me taking an old lineman at 25, he's the best player available. And most of the time it's a tackle, because the tackle position is that important, right? It's tier 1. Left tackle is tier 1. And imagine if you just hit a freaking home run on a left tackle and you've got a new David Bakhtiari for the next, 10 years. You don't have to rely on Rasheed. Rasheed can become the backup. Who knows? Maybe you try him at another position too. You've got one of, if not the best left tackles in the game in Rasheed. And then in the second or third round, maybe even the fourth, you go and get that guard that you can plug and play at right guard too, right? That's kind of the goal. Now, we say this as if, even picking in the 25 spot is a slam dunk, going to be a great player. Obviously, it's not that simple. There's going to be hits and misses throughout the.
I've seen a lot of mocks out there taking more than one running back and 1 or 0 offensive linemen. So, logic has got to take over at some point, guys. Like we definitely need depth at our offensive line. That's not a secret here in Green Bay. So we should be considering that when we go into this draft.
Yeah, for sure. Prince in the chat says, oh, I think we both hit it. Said offensive tackle or cornerback are the only positions I would want in round one. Else trade back if they can. Yeah, corner is really good. There's a good chance you're going to get a great corner by the time we pick. It looks like the guys that I feel like we'll have a legitimate shot at. Of course, this is my board. It doesn't mean this is how the mock's going to go, but starting in the 25 spot, I got Kool-Aid McKinstry in the 18th spot. Some people have him falling all the way to the second round. So that would be just freaking phenomenal if somehow, some way he's sitting there at 25 and even trade out and maybe get him a little later, right? Trade down spots and possibly land him then, right? That could definitely be the case too. So we'll see, man. It's I'm telling you, it's coming like a freight train though. It's going to be here before you know it. The draft's going to be right up on top of us, and I'm excited about our first ever draft show. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be going live for the entire thing. Definitely for the first round, definitely for the second and third round. Probably do the whole draft. That's the goal. But it might be one of those things. The stream stays up, and we have to take a break or whatever, go grab some food, and just leave the stream up so you guys can chat and hop in and out. You know what I mean?
Okay.
As you get into that last day of the draft, it gets a little bit long-winded, obviously. So even the announcers on TV aren't telling you who's being picked. They're talking about, just a bunch of random stuff. So we would fit right in with them. What are we doing lately? So, but let's see here what else we got. I think we're pretty well caught up in the chat, right? I thought I seen somebody mention Andy Herman here. Let's see. Mark Zambito said Andy Herman says we almost certainly our first pick will be O-line. It kind of feels that way because every time you do a mock, it always happens, don't it, Jacob? You've got an interior or an offensive tackle sitting there, and it's like, yeah, this makes the most sense. I mean, that feels like how the mocks have landed, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, especially now with the emphasis on tackle, every mock that I did today, I don't know if I'm looking for tackles all of a sudden, but they just seem like to be popping off the screen. And then like we've talked about in the first couple of rounds, we got to get some of those good ones. That guy from Yale, he's starting to look more intriguing now. So yeah, I really agree. I wouldn't be mad at all at 25 if we take a guard or some sort of offensive lineman. I'd be even more happy if we trade back and get a lineman and maybe even another extra lineman with that pick, just because I don't know. I think that it might be a little bit smarter.
Yeah, no doubt. Cheesehead Murph says guard, got to be a guard.
Thank you, Murph.
Man, yeah. You guys know how I believe center is more important than guard, right? But when you look at the huge hole that's there at right guard right now, and you look at Myers, and the team is much higher on Myers than I think the fans are, to be honest with you, just the way they've spoken. Now, it could be coach speak, could be exec speak, right? But if they trust him, obviously they're going to know, the team way better than any of us knuckleheads. So that's why I'm kind of leaning toward, if you had to say, all right, Clayton, you got to pick one position on the offensive line that you could take just a stud player on right now, for me, it would be right guard, right? It probably would, just to kind of plug and play him there. Because if you do bring in a center, you still got that hole at right guard. And, we could try Myers at right guard, but
maybe that eases some of the stress on Myers' shoulders if you do get a stud right guard too.
Yeah, Elton on one side and that guy on the other.
And you got Elton on the left side, and he can actually breathe a little bit and focus on his job instead of having to, try to run three things at once. I mean, wasn't Runyon on his head one of those clips we hit? Like he was legit like doing a handstand. Like,
it was bad, man.
So how's he supposed to pay attention to the guy he's blocking when his offensive lineman's not facing facing Jordan Love, looking at him throwing the ball like.
So many times, man. So many times he was facing the quarterback. And it's like, bro, that wasn't in the game plan there, right? Let's see here. Logan Nichols with a great question said, didn't the Packers put a second-round tender on Yash? They did last year, Logan. This year he was an unrestricted free agent, to the best of my knowledge. Last year they put the second-round tender, which meant if a team had to offer like more than $4 million. I can't remember what the tender was. It was definitely over $4 million that we paid him last year. So if they would have beat that offer, then we would have got their second-round pick last year. But this year, I'm pretty sure he was an unrestricted free agent. So obviously he goes to Carolina. So there you go. Someone mentioned another name in here too. Was it Fontana? You see that comment anywhere there, Tim? I was trying to find it. Excuse me. Anyway, someone mentioned Fonten. I remember seeing it in there. They said they would be fine with him at tackle or guard. I've got him on my list at tackle, Troy Fontenot. He's in the 20 spot. So if he's there, heck yeah, that's even better than Amarius Mims and Graham Barton, right? So, yeah, that could definitely fall into place there too. Hey, you guys want to laugh at an opponent for a second? Y'all good with that?
Yes.
All right, yes. So let's jump in here and take a look at the San Francisco 49ers. Emilio sent me over some information, and we pulled this off the intro webs here. It says, report the 49ers will be forced to forfeit their 5th-round pick in the 2025 draft and will have their 2024 4th-round pick moved to the end of the 4th round. That seems awfully common. This is due to a league review that uncovered multiple administrative payroll accounting errors. At the close of the 2022 league year. So were they cooking the books, fellas? Is that what they were doing over there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll tell you this: the first comment underneath that tweet, I spit my 7-Up on the counter, man. I ain't gonna lie. Look at this. They said 49ers accountant.
Bears are who we thought they were.
So there you go. 49ers obviously trying to cook the books just a touch and probably trying to hide a little cap, I imagine, something along those lines. But
for those on the pod, that was a picture of Kevin Malone, by the way. So,
yeah. What do you think? Couldn't happen to a better organization, right, Jacob?
Yeah.
I hope they lose all their picks. Hope they lose all their picks and their stadium burns to the ground.
Oh, hey.
Sorry.
Man, we went 0 to trailer park in about 3.2 seconds.
I hate him.
Jacob in here, man. I'll tell you, me and Jacob had this connection. The first time we ever talked football, I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure we're related some way or another because we got kind of the same approach to everything. Got a little trailer trash in him like I do, to be honest with you. So shout out to Kevin Malone for costing the 49ers a couple draft picks. What do you think, Emilio?
That's good. I mean, lose a pick. They tried to budge the line, get sent to the back. I mean, it's exactly what we needed. But I mean, they what do you say? If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Right.
We're trying a little too hard there. I'd say you can't fumble the numbers that much.
Yeah.
Let's worry about cheating on the field.
That's just the way we talk in the clink.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Prison Mike. Exactly. We got to cheat on the court or something, not in the books.
Exactly.
I will tell you, Kevin Malone is not intelligent enough to cheat, so it had to be an accident.
It had to have been. I got to be real with you guys. I was trying to find a drop, like a video drop we could put in here into the rotation of Kevin Malone, and it was like 10 minutes of his funniest moments. I couldn't narrow it down to one, but when he walked in with that damn toupee on, I lost it, dude.
That's what I'm talking about.
Every time, or no, when the building is supposedly caught on fire, Dwight fakes the fire and he starts busting open the snack machine.
I mean, he tries to pick up chili with 2 manila folders, like just scooping that thing back up into it.
But I do best.
Carly Ray, we got Carly Ray.
But he rumbled and stumbled.
We got Carly Ray in the house. Carly, you want to comment on any of this nonsense?
Just that The Office is amazing, but I only watched the first 4 seasons. But The Office is great. That's all. No football comments. No football. Just
hold up a second. I got to ask a question here. So you're saying you choose to only watch the first 4 seasons, or that's all you've gotten around to watch?
Then I got there, and then I had children, and then my life completely exploded. So yeah.
Tim, I swear, bro.
You're gonna have to revisit that, Carly. You're gonna have to throw it on in the background once in a while.
Yeah,
yeah, I think so.
Love it. All right, Jacob, can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
All right. You brung an article up earlier today, right? Talking about what is it? Some of the linebackers that are still left available. You know, you guys and gals have heard us talk about Goody's probably done his spinning early. Gonna wait till we get to those Kmart blue light specials that Jacob likes, right? So Goody will probably get involved here. Will we find 3 linebackers in this article that someone mentioned might be a good fit for the Packers? Is that right?
Yeah, it was Jason Shondell from Fansided. It was 3 low-cost linebackers the Packers can target in free agency.
Got it. Why do we still got Kevin Malone on the screen? What are we doing?
I don't know, but I like it.
All right, so let's list those off real quick. Who was the first one here, man?
First one is a gentleman named Zach Cunningham. He is 6'3", 230, ran the 40 in 4.67 seconds out of Vanderbilt. He's actually not that old. He was drafted in 2017. Most of the time he spent with the Texans, sometime with the Eagles. This past year, he actually graded out decently well. And in his career, he actually has had a lot of success. Specifically in 2020, he led the NFL in tackles. And in some other years, he's been decent. I mean, if you look at you got him right there. His season grades, he's up and down, but he's really good at certain situations. Some years, especially in the run defense.
I agree, man. He had a couple years where he was elite in run defense too, right? So that's obviously run fit, kind of, how you're fitting into what you're trying to accomplish there in the run defense. I expected the numbers to be a lot worse too, Jacob. So starting in 2017, 66, 65, 69, 60, 60, 60, and 69. Pretty steady, man. That would be a nice little floor signing, right? You can bring him in and say, okay, there's another body in the linebacker room. And who knows, man, maybe you can get the best out of him. Again, he is 29 years old, so it'd probably be a 1 or a 2 year deal if you did bring him in, right? Just kind of bridge the gap there. If you do bring in a couple rookies that might not be NFL ready. But last year, his grades from week 1 to 18, obviously it looked like he missed. I think he played the whole year. It looks like. Well, he missed a couple of games, but just going in the weeks he played, 60, 68, 64, 74. 43, 59, 54, 81, 80, 54, 59, 80, and 47. Like you said, up and down. But people that are looking at the 69.4 grade and like, I ain't that good, that he would have been our highest graded linebacker last year. So
crazy.
Keep that in mind, right? So I think after looking at it, when we first went in to kind of digging into what Zach Cunningham may or may not be, I wasn't expecting to come away going, you know what? I'd be okay with that. It'd be a solid signing. So who's the next one, Jacob?
Yeah, and then just real quick to put a cap on Cunningham, he would be right around the maybe $2 million per year. So that's a steal in my opinion.
That's a Ross deal. Jacob was all Ross to start, folks.
Exactly correct.
I'm a boss at Ross. So number 2, it'll be Quan Alexander, which I forgot that this guy is still somehow under there, 30 years old. He himself led the NFL in tackles in 2016. He's been doing it for a while. He's pretty good, fairly good, I'd say, in coverage. It's just he's not very great at run defense and tackling. Pretty atrocious at times, but he also has shown spurts where he could be pretty darn good.
Yeah, 6'1", 227, 4.5 40 LSU Tigers. Drafted in 2015, 4th round selection. He's 29 years old as well. PFF grades last year, looks like he only played 10 weeks. Is that right? So must have gotten injured. 61, 70, 52, 64, 64, 43, 33, 33. Did you hear that? 3D3. 78, 53. And then as far as his season grades starting in 2015, 41, 68, 65, 57, 61, 58, 53, 63, and 59. So for me, like I said, Zach Cunningham's the one that's piqued my interest the most so far. So anything you guys want to chime in, Emilio? These first two that we've talked about here, Tim?
Obviously, the first dude, Zach, is a lot more well-rounded, right? This dude basically can cover, and he's also, 30 pounds lighter than Zach. So he definitely have to be the weak side coverage guy, but I'd rather give, McDuffie a shot or something like that. I'd rather dive into Zach a lot. If we're gonna look at a linebacker, I really don't prefer his tackling grade or anything like that. I mean, he's tackled really well the first game of the season, then straight downhill.
Yeah. And he what he was pointing out there too, he played weak side linebacker and middle linebacker was the two positions he keyed in the most. And if I remember correctly, that's pretty much what Devondre Campbell did last year. He was middle linebacker and weak side backer. Probably played a little more weak side backer than middle linebacker last year.
Would you want Devondre's size and, his height, weight at a weak side middle versus a, 6'1", 220, 225?
Right. Yeah. So what do you think, Tim? Either of those guys pique your interest?
I would think. I mean, Quan Alexander looks good, but like to Emilio's point, he's clearly a cover backer. Coverage grades are okay. But I mean, I don't know how you're a linebacker in the NFL and you can't tackle. You got to be able to tackle, and especially to play on the Packers. That's what we need in our inside linebacker position. So I mean, he's intriguing to me, but I don't know. I might pass on this one.
Got it. Carly, what about you?
Tim said exactly what I was thinking. Like, I don't want any more guys that cannot tackle. So if it tackles low, like, you've been around long enough, you should get better at that. You should get some, I don't know, like that they can have the cojones to stay in the game when they can't tackle. That is a very essential skill. No, thank you.
Got it. All right. So far, Zach Cunningham really the only one that piqued our interest. All right, Jacob, who else you got, man?
So number 3 is Isaiah Simmons, and you may remember that name. He's fairly young. I believe, his draft year was 2020.
Wow.
He is the epitome of a coverage linebacker. He has been tied for 7th in coverage grade for anyone who played over 200 snaps at the linebacker position. Another one of those guys that was kind of a linebacker safety hybrid coming out. He had an 82.7 coverage grade, but the catch with him is that he had 8 missed tackles again. So
Gotcha.
There's a give and take, but he's definitely a lot more rounded than the other guy, Quan, but not as fully rounded as Zach Cunningham, but he's definitely more of a really good coverage linebacker, which I wouldn't mind taking a stab at him because he is going to be for right around or under $1 million a year.
There you go.
And his coverage grades are way higher than Quan's for sure.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. He 6'4", 238, great size. I remember when he came out in the draft, he was the 8th overall pick.
Yep.
And it was, that was the knock on him. He's kind of is he a safety? Is he a linebacker? Right. If you keep him in one spot, right, and he sticks with linebacker, you might be able to perfect that craft. He's still young enough to do it too. Like you said, 25 years old. He'll turn 26 this football season. His grades last year, obviously he played for the Giants, right? So he and McKinney obviously have a little bit of history there working together. So that's interesting. We all know that defense seemed like they were fairly decent under Wink Martindale, right? So
will you scroll down to the Packers game?
No, I will not. We're going to skip it. If we go weekly, 58, 86, 56, 90, 50, 70, 46, 74, 64, 69, 85, 39 against New England, 72 against the Packers, Amelia. With a 73.5 coverage grade. 61 in week 15, 68, 59, 55. His overall grade last year was a 68.9. In his 4 years in the league, 59, 51, 67, 68. So you're seeing improvement. Now, he did play a lot fewer snaps last year, it seems like, right? He went from 897 with Arizona in 2022 down to 378. I don't know if that was due to injury. It doesn't look like it. So they just had kind of a limited role. Looked like he played left outside linebacker, middle linebacker, weak side linebacker, right outside linebacker. Played everything but pretty much. Well, I guess he was technically playing Sam if he played right outside linebacker and left outside linebacker in certain looks. So that's an interesting prospect there. What do you guys think, Carly? What do you think? This one seems a little more appealing. I think for, like you said, $2 million or less, Jacob. I think it's worth taking a flyer on, dude.
I have a question. Kind of, what if you spend some money on somebody in free agency and then you just end up hitting the draft out of the park and and for some reason you don't want the guy that you just spent free agency money like on the team or he's on the practice squad? Do you get anything back from that, or is it basically like you better know that whoever you're paying money for, they're definitely contributing?
It all comes down to the guaranteed money. So the guaranteed money is what you will be on the hook for if you decide to cut ties with. Now, as far as practice squad, I'm not sure the updated rules on the practice squad, if he qualifies or not. I know at one point it was only you had to be in the league for like 2 years or less, right? And after that, you were no longer qualified to be on the practice squad, but they changed that during COVID, I believe, if I remember correctly, to expand that practice squad roster. I think they kept it. But if you're asking strictly from the money that you would be tied to, let's say he signs a $200 or a $2 million deal, right? 1 year, $2 million. And let's say $500,000 is guaranteed. If you cut ties with him, that $500,000 still counts towards your cap, but you're going to free up that $1.5 million. That makes sense, Carly?
Yeah, totally.
Now, if they make the roster week 1, right? Which I'm kind of taking your question as you'll probably cut ties with him before week 1. If they make the roster by week 1, I think there's something about that salary that becomes guaranteed too. So there's a little bit of a wrench that you could throw into that as well. So it just depends on the structure of the contract for sure. So
thing that caught my eye, look at his pass rush grade at Arizona. This last year he was there.
And that's obvious. That's what they were trying to do last year, right? Putting him at left outside linebacker, right outside linebacker. Notice it's saying weak side linebacker. That's referring to the 4-3 defense, right?
Right.
When you're going outside linebacker, that's telling me that they were probably shifting to some kind of a hybrid of a 34 look.
I'd like to watch the Packers game again and see how he kind of played. What was it, 18 snaps? Is that what it is?
Yeah, 18 snaps, yeah. If you want to get a real good view of what, him at his best, you could go to the Seattle game week 4 where he only had 18 snaps. But you could also go to probably the Washington game at Washington week 11. He had an 85.8 grade there, and his coverage grade was a 90 flat. So, I mean,
they flipped them all over too, though. Left outside, right outside, middle linebacker.
Everywhere, man. Yeah. He's very versatile, no doubt about it. So that one, I think those two, Jacob, I would be cool with. Take a flyer on them. That kind of like Carly asking that question. As Logan says here in the chat, Simmons looks like a Halfley kind of guy, right? I think it would be okay to take a flyer on those two guys. In worst case scenario, you might have, whatever, 250K, 500K tied up in them and dead cap, and it'd be worth it. I'm sure you won't sign both and cut both, right? So these are the type of players that we're looking at now that Goody's definitely combing through and going, all right, we got to fill out this linebacker room. Let's see what we can come up with here, right? So I know we got a herd of people in here right now. We appreciate y'all making us a part of your evening. If you guys would, hit that like button for us. You can subscribe here on YouTube. If you're on Twitter, share it, retweet it, all that good stuff. And also, if you're watching on Twitter, a lot better interfaces on YouTube. So if you click on my profile on Twitter, you'll see in that profile description there, you will see my YouTube channel link. If you click on that YouTube channel, it's a lot easier to chat and communicate with us on YouTube. So just keep that in mind. But you can continue to watch on Twitter. It's totally cool. But I know many people were trying to comment on Twitter, and it was a little more difficult. So you can hop over to YouTube, and it's a lot easier interface. But we appreciate y'all nonetheless hanging out with us. Yeah, Doug, exactly. First round, 8th overall. Damn. Right. It feels like a swing and a miss for Arizona, obviously. But you never know, man. Been in the league for 4 years, things click, right?
He loves draft, right? 2020 or was it?
Yeah, it was. You're right. Sure was. So
time flies.
So we hit that. Couple other things here I wanted to try to get to. Mr. Larry, one of our great listeners, Larry Cano, actually texted me earlier today. That's right. Give him a round of applause. He texted me earlier today and said, hey, it would be cool to see the mock drafts that you guys just did because, we just had Jacob, we just had Carly, everybody, Tim, Emilio, everybody did their mock drafts. I couldn't find mine. I combed through, I couldn't find it anywhere. So
Nice.
What I did, that's a good way to getting out of it, right?
Yeah.
Junior Colson would have been higher. I promise you that because I definitely drafted Junior Colson. That's my draft crush. But Larry said, why don't you see which players, you guys selected multiple times as a group and maybe talk about them a bit. That could kind of draw a little bit of a, maybe a little hint on, hey, if these guys keep popping up at these specific picks, maybe this is a player or two that the Packers might be on, right? So if we dive into that real quick, it's going to be a little bit hard to read, but on the left side, you got Jacob's mock draft. Okay, it was Dookie. No, I'm just kidding. It was a good draft. You've got Jacob's mock looked like a Bears draft. I love it. So Jacob took I won't read all of them off. I guess we probably should. That's the whole point, though, right?
Yeah.
We'll rattle them off real quick. Jacob's mock. He took Latu, edge defender from UCLA, with the I can't see it because of the numbers, the number count. Did you trade back in the first round, Jacob, or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so you traded back. I don't know what pick you traded
to. He traded 41, round 2 41. He received round 2 44 and round 4 112.
Okay, gotcha. Well, he took Latu, edge defender, out of UCLA, and then at 44 he took Javon Bullard, safety out of Georgia. At 58 he took Zach Frazier, center out of West Virginia. Patrick Paul out of Houston at 88. At 91 he took cornerback DJ James. At 112 he took linebacker Cedric Gray. 126 guard Cooper Beebe. 169, I believe it is, safety Jalen Simpson. 202 Frank Gore Jr. And 219 safety Omar Brown. 245 linebacker Darius Milesau. And then 255 safety Cotton Oladipo. If you'll notice the big green number next to each pick, that's how many times our group drafted them. Okay, so that's what we're coming up with. What'd you just say, Jacob? Did you whisper that was a great draft?
Yeah, I did.
If we could just get you a little confidence, man, you'll be good to go, bro.
You should do this and put who in like parentheses after the name. Who are the 2 people or the 3 people that drafted both of those? It'd be cool to see which people here were like the most on the same page too.
Yeah, right.
But this is cool. This is really cool. I like this.
Yeah,
I do think it's funny that me being the defensive guy, I'm the only one who took an O lineman at 25.
and it's hilarious. It was really funny. You let the pressure get to you, didn't you, Tim? Is that what it was?
Maybe, yeah.
Or maybe you've been unfairly listed as you only drafted defensive guys.
Yeah.
That could be that too. So Carly's draft, excuse me, Tyler Nubin with the 25th pick, absolutely loved it. Safety out of Minnesota. And then she traded down, right? So she picked again at 52, linebacker Junior Colson, love that pick. At 58, tackle Kyron Amagaji out of Yale. As Vince Lombardi said, Yale. With the 88th pick, cornerback Max Melton, also known as Bo Melton's brother from Rutgers, right? With the 91st pick, halfback Bucky Irvin. With the 99th pick, center Cedric Von Pron. At 126, guard Cooper Beebe. Great pick there. Love that pick. 154, safety Malik Mustafa. 169, edge defender Braden McGregor out of Michigan. 202, tight end Eric All out of Iowa. And then let's see, 219, I think it is. No, what is that number there? Man, I'm getting old. I think it might be 219.
Yeah.
Anyway, safety Kitten Oladipo. Is it Kitten or Cotton? I kind of like Kitten. It's just, sounds.
I thought it was Catan.
Catan.
Yeah, Catan, like the sword.
Catan. I'm bowing to the
I think
camera right now.
it's my opinion.
Catan. All right.
Yeah.
Sure about that?
We are not sure about anything on this silly show. Catan Oladipo. Then you got linebacker Jordan McGee at 245. At 255, you got halfback Blake Watson. Carly, felt good about that draft or no?
I actually feel better about it now. Hearing you do it, it's like, oh, actually, that didn't turn out too bad. Afterwards, I was like, oh, I didn't get any of the, I got less than half the people I originally wanted, but it turned out okay.
She said, I feel better about this draft seeing it next to Jacobs. That's what she did. All right, up next, we got Emilio. All right, Emilio went Jerzon Newton at 25. If he's there, I'm running that card up there. That pickup. I love how Tim's just letting us know which one he approves.
Appreciate you, Tim.
Yeah. At 41, he went center Zach Frazier. Jacob, you like that pick, don't you, sir?
I do.
Yeah.
At 58, edge defender Jonah Ellis.
It's the only one I want back. That's the only one I want back.
Really? What don't you like about it now? Looking back?
After we deep dove on him after I picked him, we should have clicked on him before. But he's like 6'1", like 210 pounds, edge out of Utah. Not going to fit this scheme. But
I got you.
I would have liked to trade back there, but it's all right.
Hey, some people live and learn, and some people just live. You know what I'm saying, Emilio?
You don't
Dead
know.
fish.
You know.
Dead fish is calling out.
Omar Brown was picked.
Yeah, I was going to let you know when we got down to him, but it's all right. I appreciate you, Dead Fish.
So I missed one there. Got it. Dead Fish always going to come in here and tell me when I screw up, man. I appreciate it. I'm pretty sure that's Mandy's burner account. He went Jerzon Newton at 25, defensive lineman. Zach Frazier at 41. Jonah Ellis, edge defender at 58. Max Melton at 88. Kalen Bullock, safety at 91. Cedric Gray, linebacker at 126. Javen Foster, tackle at 169. Omar Brown at 202, safety. And then at 219, Frank Gore Jr., halfback out of Southern Miss. 245, linebacker Nathaniel Watson out of Mississippi State. And at 255, he went tight end Eric All. So he jumped in on the Eric All train as well. That's another one I missed, isn't it? Yep.
Yeah, that's all right. People with ACLs, right? They don't count. People with torn ACLs don't count. So
he counts as a half a player right now. All right. So Emilio, other than Jonah Ellis, how do you feel about it, man? You feel pretty good about your mock?
Yeah, no, I like the draft. I honestly would have rather traded out of Jonah Ellis and snag something for next year. Trade out of the second, get a second and a fourth, or a second and a third for next year. Call it a day. Be all right with that.
Carly, I just seen your private chat over here. You got to just start cutting me off and say, "Hey, I got a question." Okay, so I apologize. Move right by it. Remind me here in a minute. I want if you remember the question.
No, she asked it.
No, I already asked it.
Okay,
It's cool.
Good deal.
I got it in. I figured it out.
Yeah. All right. So she said, Tim here says, let's see, he drafted at 25 Jackson Powers Johnson, center out of Oregon. I love it. Absolutely love it. 41.
And
go ahead.
I was just saying that a boy Tim pulled the trigger on an offensive lineman in the first round. I didn't see it coming.
Tell me that man's growing and changing every day. Yeah. Safety Tyler Newman at 41, great pick there. Linebacker Junior Colson at 58. Max Melton, cornerback at 88. DJ James, cornerback at 91. Tackle Christian Jones at 126. Edge defender Braden McGregor at 169. I like the edge coming in a little later, Tim. I really do, because you need a little depth there. No reason unless just an absolute stub falls to you to take an edge really, really early. I know, Emilio, you want that one back. I understand. Yeah. Let's see, halfback Frank Gore Jr. at 202. Johnny Dixon, cornerback at 219. Safety Kenny Logan Jr. sound like a country singer. I'm digging it, 245. And then Jordan McGee at 255, linebacker out of Temple. Tim, how you feel about it, man? Yours is, if I looked at all four of these side by side, I think they're all great. But I think Tim's is the one that's like, man, that might be the one I would pick. But how do you feel about it, Tim?
I feel pretty good about the draft. I think I might have reached a bit for DJ James, double dipping there at corner. But other than that, I think as far as needs go, I'm pretty much covered them. I see I took a lot of guys that the rest of the crew took as well, so we're kind of on the same page there. But yeah, as much as a defensive guy as I am, I mean JPJ coming, falling down on the board there for me, you almost have to take him there. And I feel pretty good. I'm really grateful for Jacob's advice on that last pick. I think Jordan McGee was a good pick there at linebacker at the end of the draft. So I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, Jacob, I'm really excited. Jacob, hopefully you're free there the last few rounds of the draft to be on for the live draft party because, dude, you're that dude that can pluck those guys out of the late rounds,
Yeah. Jacob walked me through on Javon Foster, too. Him and Nathaniel Watson, I'm pretty sure Jacob said snag. And we liked our PFF breakdown.
Yeah, and Tim, you said you didn't like the DJ James pick. I love it, dude. You picked him at 91. He's 67 on my board.
Well, we knew Tim wasn't going to not take a corner with that pick, though, right, Clayton?
Exactly right. So to get back to Mr. Larry's question in the text, here's how it fell. Now, you guys – I missed a couple that we picked twice, right? So if you'll just remind me of those when we get to the end here, okay? I tried to do them. Obviously, the guys that we took the most, I put them at the top of the list, but I still went in the order of rounds too as we got through them, okay? So we took cornerback Max Melton 3 times, 3 out of the 4 mock drafts. Max Melton was selected, okay, at corner. 3 out of the 4 mock drafts, halfback Frank Gore Jr. was selected, okay? All of them coming pretty late in the draft. Like I think I see a 6-rounder. I think there was another one, and 6-rounder. So all 3 times he was taken in the 6th round. Okay. Now when you get to the prospects that we took twice, free safety Tyler Newman. Okay, we took him twice. We took linebacker Junior Colson twice. Center Zach Frazier twice. That is kind of feeling like that 2nd round, if we decide to not take a center at 25, which I think is a very, very realistic, guess that the Packers probably won't take a center at 25, to be honest with you. If they pass up on Jackson Powers Johnson, I think Zach Frazier is the one that's going to be in play there in the 2nd round. I really do. So we also took cornerback DJ James. We just talked about. We took him twice. Linebacker Cedric Gray got picked twice. I like Cedric Gray too. He's kind of growing on me. Guard Cooper Beebe, I think he's going to be a solid offensive lineman. Took him twice. Edge Braden McGregor, took him twice. Safety Catan, see how I learned? A lot of Poe, took him twice. Linebacker Jordan McGee was selected twice, and Jacob had nothing to do with that, I promise you. But the 2 players that we also took. One of them was Eric All, tight end. You guys know, battled a little bit of an injury. I think let's see, Carly took him in the 6th round, and I believe Emilio took him in the 7th round.
Mr. Irrelevant.
That's right. So, and got an A+ for that too. So
apologies to the chat. We didn't take a long snapper or a kicker.
Yeah.
Sorry about
Well,
that.
Tim really talked us out of it. I tried to talk Carly into it, and Tim's over here just kicking the door down.
Telling you, man, I'm showing up, man. Gonna get that league minimum.
yeah, Mark Zambito, sorry, buddy. We just now seen the super chat here, man. I apologize. He said, "Do you think we may get any compensation picks? We pick up 2 and lose 7." It's a great question, Mark. I don't know the answer to it. I don't keep up with comp picks very much. Maybe if one of us can make a note of that, we could try to figure out. They didn't know the exact comp picks until just here recently, too. It takes a while. There was a lot of guesses out there, and I don't think anybody had guessed right until they actually dropped. But yeah,
Maybe I don't understand the question, but I heard that we did get them already, like they were already named, and that was included in the 11 or 14 or whatever it was picks that Goody has this draft.
correct.
Am I totally off? Oh, okay. For next year, you mean?
I'm thinking I believe he's referring to next year. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we won't know that for a heck of a long time, I think.
When you lose guys in free agency, obviously there can be comp picks involved. Like Alan Lazard, obviously that was a comp pick. So we'll see what Yash gets paid. I don't even know if it's up for a comp. Again, that's the stuff I don't get too caught up in, but I think it's something we can learn together, right? So we'll see if we can figure out the answer.
Yeah, you were right about that, Clay. Lazard, Jaron Reed, and Dean Lowry were our comp picks this year.
Got it. So those are all guys that another team signed from us in free agency, and I want to say it has something to do with the money that they're signed for that determines the value of the player, therefore rewarding the comp pick. Now, I could be wrong there, but keep in mind, many people think, oh, so we get a pick from that team. No, it's not. It's a compensatory pick. It's not a compensation pick. There's two different things. The compensatory picks don't come from the team. The compensation picks do, right? So if you put like a second round tender on Yash like last year, if someone had signed him, we would have gotten a second round pick for him. These compensatory picks are when people leave in free agency, and then the league will determine, okay, who should get a comp pick for their loss, if you will. So that's the way I understand it. It could be off base, but Mark, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. We appreciate it. Who was the other one, Emilio, that someone mentioned in the chat?
Omar Brown, the safety out of Nebraska.
Got it. Omar Brown was the other one.
Okay. Jacob picked him in, what was that, round 6, 219, and then I got him in round 6, 202.
Yeah. So if we go around the horn here real quick, Jacob, I'll start with you, man. Doing little exercises like this, it always helps me. What did you learn from like this little exercise we just did? Anything stick out to you?
I think there's definitely some hometown bias that wants the Melton brothers to be playing together again. I think that's clear. I think that maybe the Frank Gore, that just seems like a really perfect avenue for the Packers to take that. It's later in the round, once we address some of our more pressing needs. He's a great kind of complementary back to the two type of bigger, more power backs that we have now. Mm-hmm. And plus he's obviously got the timeline, the legacy name. And I think that'd just be a really nice area for us to pick up a third running back. And then I think that it shows that we're starting to take offensive lines more seriously, showing that there's more interior linemen getting drafted in the first 2 or 3 rounds. Whereas, as we talked about, even as lately as a week or 2 ago, people were kind of scoffing at it. And now I think that it's becoming more obvious that we have to go offensive line, at least within the first 3 picks, at least, I would say.
Got it.
Yeesh.
Got it. Emilio, what about you, buddy? What stood out to you, man?
Yeah, no, I think, Jacob kind of hit it on the head there. Max, we want him on the team. And same with the analytics, right? 35% of them are drafting them. But I think it's cool just getting them all. Like, it's almost looking at a horizontal board, for ourselves. I'd almost even add in the 33rd team if we could at the end, just to double up and see if we had any extra picks. I know near the end, none of them were probably the same, but up at the beginning of the draft, just to kind of see where we were with those, if any other of them carried over. But honestly, a great drafting all around, and it's just going to be exciting to see, how it folds, how it happens.
I can pop this up here real quick too. I I got both of the graphics. I'll put them side by side here. Let's pop that 33rd team up real quick. And for those of you listening, you're thinking, what the hell are you talking about, 33rd team? We used the 33rd team's horizontal board and did a mock draft with it. And if you guys don't know what the 33rd team is, just Google it. It's a really cool website. It's created and kind of ran, and a lot of information is fed to them from former executives, former coaches, former players. It's a really, really cool website. Very, I don't know, just got a lot of credibility there, I guess you could say. So let's pop this up real quick. We've kind of looked at this long enough. Let's see if anything sticks out. Tyler Nubin's one, right? Junior Colson is one.
Yeah.
Let's see who else. That's pretty much
That's
it.
That's crazy. I do like Puny, though. That was another one I was excited about because I'm pretty sure he played tackle too. He kind of played all over the line.
Yep. Again, we took Puny there using the 33rd team's horizontal board. We got him at the 88 spot, and he's 53 on my board. He was definitely the best player available when we took him. But so that's interesting. I'm glad you mentioned that.
So we had 6 in your top 100, right? With 170 picks. So
1, 2, 3,
that's not bad at all.
6. Yeah, we hit 6 out of 7. Our first 7 picks, 6 of them were in the top 100. Yeah,
I love it.
And again, what Goody said too, that he said typically we get players with our first 3 picks in the first 3 rounds, we get players within our top 50. That's exactly ours hit here.
That's
you know
crazy.
What I mean? 25, right. 41, 58 was 18, 28, 50. If Goody's board were to look like mine, right? And we know it doesn't, but it's cool to kind of, as you do these exercises, man, you're forced to learn, all right, what are they faced with on the clock? The trading aspect, that's kind of dealt with ahead of time, right? Where they're calling up teams, I guarantee you, probably as early as now, going, hey, if we were to want to move back, what do you think the comp would be that, the day of the draft, right? Doesn't mean you got to agree to it right now. If we wanted to move up, they're calling these teams, and then they've got everything in their database going, okay, here's our potential trade partners. And if a player starts to fall, you get them on the phone early. Hey, if our guy makes it to this spot, do you still want to trade? Yeah, absolutely. Is that offer still good? All right, cool. So you're ready to pull the trigger. It's not like Madden, right, Jacob? You don't pause it. Go work out your trade and all that good stuff. So
another question they probably had is
who in the hell is Mel Kiper in a way?
Great question, Bill Tobin. Carly, what do you think about this little exercise? Did you learn anything, or you think this was just an absolute waste of time dealing with us knuckleheads?
No, it was really cool just to see the timing and how things go down. Can you go back over to the 33rd team one?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I actually in the practice one that I did, I actually had Mekhi Wingo as I drafted around there, and then Kamani Vidal as well. I had those 2, and then Junior Colson and Tyler Nubin I had as well in there. But it's kind of cool. It's just cool to see what names kind of come up repeatedly, and also about the Melton whole brother thing. I mean, who can push anyone better than their brother? Who can give them crap? Who can push them to the next level? Who can compete? Right? I would love to have those 2 on the team, giving each other heck and just pushing themselves to the next level.
Yeah, for sure. Emilio had to dip out. Emilio, buddy, if you're still watching, listening, thank you so much for your time, man. We give Emilio hell, but I'm telling you, man, he is so valuable to this joke of a show we got, dude. I love that dude. Yeah, so
It's all right.
I think it's he's all right.
He's all right.
He's a kid. I think it's great to do this type of stuff, man. It's a lot of fun, and like I said, it just kind of gives you all different angles. One of the things I do every year, and I'm going to do it here real soon, is I'm going to run 2 mock drafts using PFF, 2 using the Consensus Big Board website, the mock draft database website, and then 2 on the Draft Network. And I'm not going to pick them; I'm just going to sim them, right? And I compile them the same way I do this. And that's how last year I came up with Lucas Van Ness. He was the guy that got picked multiple times. I'm going, nah. And sure enough, we came on the clock and looked back at the big board and was like, there he is. And they took him. So if you run it through the system enough and you remove your own personal bias and everything, it's amazing the information is spit out. But as far as Max Melton, I know, Jacob, you made a comment. You feel like there's probably a little bias there, right? I used to feel like that until I heard Jake Shavink talk about Max Melton. Not that you're saying you disagree with the pick, but you were just pointing out, like, if Bo Melton, it's just like with Braylon Allen or anything else, right? If he hadn't played for Wisconsin, will we still want him, right? Going into this draft, when people were talking about Max Melton, I was rolling my eyes. And then I hear about him, I think it was down at the Senior Bowl, if I remember correctly, how he stood out. He was clocked as the fastest, I believe, on the field. Hearing Jake Shavink talk about him, I was like, all right, man, there you go. He's a real deal. Put that back up there, Tim. I want to see that. There's somebody taking a shot at Emilio United Bates, the nice guy always in here. He says Emilio's race car bed is making a pit stop. Somebody's got to make that Photoshop happen. We got to get a Photoshop of him laying in one of those little kitty race car beds, man. We got to make that happen. So, all right. Anything else, Tim? What about you, buddy? Anything stick out to you? This little exercise here, man?
I mean, I'm with you on Max Melton. I mean, it's a great point to bring that up because I was kind of thinking that too. Like it's kind of the Homer mentality, or you want to see that chemistry. You want to see brothers playing together on a team and all of that. But once you really do a little bit of a dive on Max Melton and you watch some film and you look at the numbers and you look at what he's doing, I mean, he's legit. I mean, he's on a lot of boards. And to me, the thing that made me make the pick where I did was the fact that, again, we've talked about Eric Stokes Jr. On the boundary, and we need depth at boundary corner. We also need a slot, contingency plan in the slot, nickel corner too. But Max looks like a guy that would be someone that could give a guy like Stokes a run for his money at training camp and bring some competition to that cornerback room. So that's kind of what sealed the deal with Max for me.
Got it. And yet Max Melton is actually not in my top 100 on my board. I'm going to go find him really, really quick and let you guys know. Hopefully I can find him pretty quick. I know he was pretty low on my board, though, a lot lower than most people's.
Can I ask a question to Tim while you're looking for that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So here's me revealing my ignorance again, guys. Lots of terminology I've been learning in the last year. But I thought that slot corner and nickel corner were essentially the same thing. Is that not the case?
They are. Yeah. Oh, no, they are.
Okay. You got me all confused. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, some people refer to it as nickel. Some people refer to it as slot. Some people refer to it as star. Like it and what you're going to find out, Carly, everybody wants to sound smarter than the other person.
Yeah, they're all the same thing.
It's all a pissing contest is all it is. Everybody, it's like I've met probably a half a dozen high school coaches here in Tennessee that will call the same route something different. And it's
just to be different, just to sound like they came up with it. Yeah,
exactly. You'll hear people you got to find the terminology that works best for you. Right. And you do that by asking those questions. Right. Because it's a really good, I guarantee you somebody in the chat was going, I didn't know that. So thank you for asking that question.
No problem. I know I'm not gonna win any pissing contests, so I don't even try.
I love it. I swear, Carly, you're one of the guys. I absolutely love it. It's awesome. I'm having a hard time locating Max Melton on my board. This is scaring me.
Well, I think that's because, to your point, Clayton, like he wasn't really super high on people's draft boards, I think, until Mobile. I mean, we heard Jake Shavink talking about how he did down in Mobile at the Senior Bowl, and that's kind of what started to make people kind of talk about him a little bit. But watch some tape on him, man. I mean, he moves well. He could be one of those sleeper picks, and I certainly agree with Jacob. The reason we're, a lot of us were taking him at our fourth pick here is clearly the Homer mentality. But I think he's going to fall somewhere in that 80 to early 100 range in this draft.
Yeah, I've got him 169 on my board.
Okay.
And the reason being is PFF grades, both in 2022 and 2023, a little bit low. And the 33rd team has him ranked 131st when I put the information in. So I'm thinking that's what drug him down. I'm eager to see. We're going to find out real quick how good he is, because if he continues to drop and he does fall, outside of the top 150, then we know, okay, all the hype didn't catch. But who knows, man? He might be a top 50 pick because these scouts absolutely fell in love with him in Mobile, right? And again, people are going, what are you talking about Mobile? We're talking about the Senior Bowl. And, well, it's just a practice. You want to find out how someone performs, put them in pads, put them in front of every scout in the National Football League, and put them up against the best college talent that they went up against the year before, and go, hey, go out there one-on-one. Let's see what you got, big boy. I can't imagine a more pressure-packed situation than that. And that's why Quinyon Mitchell just soared up the boards, because he was shutting guys down. Like, oh, yeah, you think because I played at Toledo I can't play with the big boys? He went out there and embarrassed some folks. So that's why that stuff matters, in my opinion. But
that's a great point, because for a lot of guys like that, that's their chance. That's their chance to get out there and shine, especially in that Alabama heat,
yeah,
in front of the scouts.
Definitely. You don't believe that Alabama heat was real? I'll tell you this. Go back and watch Jake Shavink in the hotel room, right? Recording his pod in Mobile. My man was toasted. He was burnt, right? He looked like a lobster. So it's cool that he goes down there and gets that inside look for sure, man. So all right. Anything else, guys? Anything else anybody else wants to hit on here before we wrap up? I know we got a bunch of people in here. If you guys would, if you're on Twitter watching, click on my profile. You'll see a YouTube link that'll take you directly to our channel where you can communicate in the chat a lot easier than on Twitter. And just go ahead and hit that sub button if you like this kind of content. If you don't like this kind of content, just pretend like you never even heard us, okay? No big deal. But Jacob, anything you want to hit on before we get out of here, bub?
No, man, that was fun. I hope to see us hopefully sign one of those linebackers. That'd be kind of cool, especially, those guys are playing for a 1-year, $1 million contract. Why not take a couple swings at it? We've got a little bit of money freed up now, so it'd be cool, like you said, just to build the floor in that room. I think that'd be, we've talked about it. We looked at it multiple times. When you see the PFF schematic, we've got 2 major holes, one on the offense, one on the defense. So if we can plug the linebacker and the interior offensive line, I think we're going to be really, really good.
Yeah, definitely. Tim?
Yeah, what Jacob said.
There you go.
We'll sign 100%.
Got it. Carly, you got anything else?
I really like what Eric Sutherland said up here. He said, I learned that I'm really glad Goot's the one doing the picking.
There you go. All right. Well, we appreciate you, Eric.
Wait a second. We gotta give Eric a round of applause, man, for sure, for that. He finally said something we could say on the air,
Yes. Yes.
Even though it's probably insulting, a backhanded compliment in some way, right? But
insulting all of us, for real. Exactly. But that's okay.
Larry Cano said, "Thanks for doing that, Clayton. Does it earn me production assistant status?" LOL. Let me tell you something, Larry. You do not want to be a part of this team, buddy. You will have so much brain damage if you're in the private text thread with this group. I will not subject Carly to it. Carly is on a different messaging platform. Like there's no way I'm putting you in a thread with Tim, Emilio, and Jacob, because it gets out of control really quick. But yeah, Larry, we appreciate the advice, and like always say about Mandy, anything good in my life came from Mandy going, "Hey, you should try that." That's how we're doing the podcast, to be honest with you. That was her idea, not mine. But usually the listeners provide the better ideas. So appreciate you sending that text over. That's why it's important, man. You guys get an idea like that. Obviously we're not going to be able to fit everything in, but we'll try our best and see what sticks, and kind of I think it's things like this that kind of set our show apart a little bit. We're not looking for the shock jock stuff. Hey, let's talk about the hot button topic. Who's arguing on Twitter today? Type thing. And we're not going to try to act like know-it-alls either, man. We're going to, hey, here's a question from a listener. Do you got the answer? No, let's all dive in. Let's see if we can get it right. And that's how we all get better as Packer fans. That's the whole purpose of the channel. So anyway, appreciate everybody for hanging out with us. This was a lot of fun. And again, Larry, thank you for that submission there, buddy. I'll keep my ears and eyes open to the text thread from you. And anytime you want to contribute, man, just shoot me a text. You got an idea for sure. All right, we're out of here, gang. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us again. Special shout out to Ticket King. You're awesome. And we will be back tomorrow evening for PTA Live. Definitely, possibly a Good Morning Lambo. Just be on the look. You may see a link pop up. If it does, the guys may go live tomorrow morning. So just keep that in mind. I know Jacob had a bit of an emergency pop up earlier this morning, so they couldn't make it. But things happen.
Hi, I'm Date Mike. Nice to meet me.
Love it. All right. Look at my man up there. All right, we're out of here. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. We'll see y'all later. Special shout out to the super chat, Mark Zambito. You were awesome, buddy. Again, Larry, thank you for the submission, man. Thank you for the idea. It was awesome. Carly, thanks for jumping on with us and putting up with us too.
Always a blast, guys. Always a blast.
Give a quick shout out to Tupac LaFleur.
Yeah,
here.
Tupac LaFleur in the house.
Ain't easy, pimping ain't easy.
People
Love
keep
it.
forgetting, man, that hey, Josh Jacobs signing's great and all, but we also got back our boy
John Deere Green on a hot summer night. He rode Billy Bob loves Charlene.
All right, we'll see y'all tomorrow. Everybody have a great evening. For those of you listening on the pod, thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. And go Pack, go.
The power sweep. Actually, it's the lead play in our offense. Yes, our YN or a tight end to open up somewhere between 6 feet and 9 feet. Get an isolation with the linebacker. Tell the tackle to take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, to drive down on the first man to his inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here. And try to run this play in the alley.